So how did you get property number one? What were the steps?
So I realized that everything is selling over market value. Like if the property's value is 300, everyone's like there's a bidding war. Everyone's buying that property for 350.
Yeah.
So me trying to buy this property, I wouldn't even be able to get it financed from the bank. So these guys have like cash lying around, kind of people who are buying these properties. So that's not my game. So it kind of struck me that University of Windsor is not the only thing in Windsor.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't I look at St. Clair College? Because students go there to study as well. If students are willing to pay for University of Windsor, they'll be willing to pay for this as well.
Yeah.
So I started looking in the University of Windsor neighborhood. The first thing I saw was way out of my budget. It was a big piece to buy it for me as like a new investor. The house went on the market for $300,000. It was like priced very below market value.
Okay.
This was probably the first property I bid on ever. It was listed for 300. I bid 430K, like 130,000 above market value. Above the listing price I bid on it, and I didn't even get it. Property went for 450. The property had a potential of throwing in 11 to 12 bedrooms. With multiple washrooms and multiple kitchens.
My God.
It was a humongous beast, but that was like too big for me in the first place.
Yeah.
So I was kind of somewhere in my heart I was happy I didn't get it because it was too big of property for me to deal with for my first property.
Yeah.
But at the same time I got so much experience in the neighborhood. Like I looked at analyzed so many deals in the neighborhood that I knew how to value properties in that neighborhood. And then our good friend Austin had like a property to wholesale that was just like 7 minutes walking distance, not even 5 minutes walking distance from the St. Clair's College. It was like a newly renovated property, so you didn't have to do anything. And it had like, it's 7-bedroom house with pot lights, new flooring, new paint, everything new. It's a huge house, 2 washrooms and everything. So we got that house as a wholesale deal from Austin. I paid like $383,000 plus $10,000 wholesale fees.
Right.
I think at that point the value of the house was roughly 420 grand. So we knew we were like, even if, and the funny thing here was we run the numbers looked amazing. We didn't even bother to go and see the house. And that was my first property ever I bought. I didn't even bother to go and check out the house. I was like, the numbers work. I've bid on so many houses in the neighborhood. I've analyzed so many properties in the neighborhood. As long as the numbers work, I don't have to worry.
And you trust Austin too, because he's
He's an investor. He runs his numbers conservatively, so he knows what he's doing. Yeah, so we didn't even feel the urge to go and buy a property, and like many people would be like, how did you even do that? Your first property, you're putting so much money, and how can you not even check out the property? As long as the numbers work, it doesn't matter to me. It's not a single family home like a primary home for me. Like the backyard needs to be perfect for my dog. The front yard should be perfect for me to hang out. It's not like that. As long as the number works, I can get enough rents, it works. So I bought that property for 383 plus 10,000 wholesale fees. We went there, checked out the property, and it was COVID time. Right here in downtown Toronto, everything was closed. So we're like, me and my brother, why don't we just go there, move there for some time, and just work on the property a bit. Because there was like 6 bedrooms and a big den. For that den, like we thought we would just convert that den into a bedroom. Why don't we just cover it up, make it frame it, drywall, paint it, throw in a wall, make a door, and then boom, you have another room to rent. So that's what we thought. So that 6-bedroom house, we converted into a 7-bedroom house now. So that was like during COVID. Like before COVID, I didn't even know how to use a screwdriver. Pretty much I didn't even have a screwdriver. So I was like, okay, by the time phase 1 of COVID was done, I was like very handy with doing so much stuff around the house.
So you just fucking framed it, drywalled all of it yourself?
Yeah, frame, drywall, and the funny thing is you can't even go into Home Depot, so you don't even know what you're ordering.
And that was in May, right? Or March?
So April.
April, okay.
So April 1st was the closing of the Windsor property.
Wow, I mean, and then that's how you got deal number 1.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So we spent some time making that 10 into a living room, and then we started furnishing the house, started trying to get tenants in. It was like a tough time in the beginning to get tenants in, but it doesn't matter. Like if you have a house in Windsor, which is not too expensive, even if you have like a couple or 3 rooms rented out, it kind of covers your expenses. So now it has 7 rooms, out of which 1 room we are just keeping it on the side, just as some storage or just like some place to crash if ever we go to Windsor.
Yeah.
Since it's primary residence, we would like to leave 1 room empty, because there was this scenario where we got a couple of tenants in. It was a couple. The girl was probably 17 and the guy was 19, and they were doing some illegal activities in the house. And the funny thing was, the first tenant I ever got was a cop at the University of Windsor. This cop is living upstairs, and these kids living downstairs are doing illegal activities. And the cop is calling me and letting me know what the fuck these guys are doing. And when I call their mom up and confront about it, the mom's not even shocked about their illegal activity. She's like, well, what can I do? I'll talk to them. And then it got to a point where these guys were being all not talking nice to my neighbors, because my neighbors are just amazing people.
Yeah.
I treat them like family, and they were very rude to my neighbors and abusive. So from that time I knew that I need to get these guys out. So I slowly started getting into my network and just talking to people and getting to know how to evict tenants, how does the law side of real estate works. It was like, I can tell you, there was like a bunch of sleepless nights, no whiskey, no beer, nothing was working, bro, I'm telling you, for quite some time. And then, so we decided, let's drop everything here, let's go there and just stay there for like a few days and figure it out. So we went there, started going through our network and asking people how to do this, and then we got a couple lawyers contact, and then we figured out the law, and the law said that if it's your primary residence and you're staying there, you can evict anyone in 24 hours notice, as long as you're sharing the common amenities like kitchen and washroom. So pretty much I just had to let them know that you're leaving the house in 24 hours and I can kick them out, just like a father kicks his son out when he doesn't clean the dishes. So that was like a phase, and that kind of, at that point I was like questioning myself, why do I need to do real estate? Is it even worth it and everything?
Yeah.
But what doesn't break you makes you stronger. That's the point. I knew why I wanted to do real estate, how bad I want to do real estate, that I'll go through this trouble. So we got them out. Now we have like no issues. Now we started finding good tenants. Our tenant screening process, we took it to the next level. I could have handed it over to property management, but since this is my beginning few properties, you want to do everything yourself so that you learn a lot. And tomorrow when your property manager or your contractor is handing you a bill, you at least you have an idea if he's ripping you off or not.
Yeah.
And you might as well do it in the first few properties, because you have the excitement. Later you won't even have the excitement, neither would you have time to do that.
That's true.
So we just did property management. We learned so many things in property management, took it to the next level. Our screening process got so tighter. Some people used to text like, you sound like an asshole, I don't want to rent your room. I'm like, thank you, sir. I don't want tenants like you anyways. So the funny thing was, last month, I think October is the first month where I have all the 6 rooms rented out. And I'm making like $3,700 in rents. And then my expenses are roughly like $1,650 is my mortgage. And if you're running a student rental, I conservatively like to hold like $1,000 on top, which would include like insurance, property taxes, utilities, and just some buffer expenses on top. So the funny thing with this house is it has a metal roof, so you don't have to change the roof. And everything in the house is newly renovated, so there are no expenses whatsoever. So normally investors hold 5% capex, which is like big expenses from the rent, they put it aside, 5% minor repairs. I don't need to do that. My roof's not going to change, I don't know, until 50 years or so. So that's like a good part, but then I'm still holding some buffers. So my expenses on this house is roughly like $2,600, $2,700, and I'm making $3,700. So that's $1,000 straight in my pocket.
Sweet.
That was deal number 1, so that was a pretty good deal number 1.
And then, so that was, you said May was fully tenanted out?
No, May 1st. So April 1st was when I bought it.
Yeah.
And then I always had like 3-4 tenants on the go in the
Okay.
house. So it was covering all my expenses
Okay.
until now. And then in October was the first month where I was like, okay, all the rooms are rented out. Now I'm finally making cash flow. But it doesn't even matter if you make cash flow or not, to be honest.
For sure.
Like the word cash flow sounds attractive,
Yeah.
but in the end, cash flow doesn't mean anything, honestly. Because I bought the house for 383 plus 10,000 wholesale fees, that's 393. When the market value of the property was 420. Now properties in my neighborhood, one of my investor buddy just sold his property in my neighborhood, like 10 minutes walk from my house, for 470k. So it's like you make so much money just by sitting on the property that
That's another
$500, $1,000 is not gonna change anything in your life, honestly. Unless you are that's your source of income and that's what you're
Yeah.
depending on.
Yeah, for sure.